All right, and welcome back to the Pink Moose Podcast, Episode 7. We've got some exciting stuff for you guys today. We're going to be diving into some current Hollywood news and reviewing some new trailers that dropped this week, as well as some new and old snacks. Our movie weekly this week, we're diving headfirst into the eerie and enigmatic world of Damian McCarthy's new thriller horror, Oddity, which was pretty good.
I liked it, but we'll get more into that later.
Mm-hmm. So the first thing that we're going to go over today is trailers. Or actually, I guess we should maybe start with news.
Yeah, I would say we start news and roll into trailers, definitely.
Okay. Well, did you guys see that James Spader's reprising his role for the villain Ultron?
Yeah, and the new Disney Plus series Vision, that's supposed to come out in 2026.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it just got dropped that he is going to be reprising his role with Ultron.
I didn't even realize they were doing an Ultron show.
Or
a Vision show.
That's why I was surprised about it. That's why I was like, oh, we got to put this on here because it just came out of nowhere. Like I think they might have mentioned it when WandaVision came out, that they wanted to do something, especially because they set up with the White Vision.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was the White Vision called again? Vision Prime.
I think it was White Vision.
Was it?
Yeah,
Oh.
I think that's all you know.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that Ultron's gonna be a flashback though?
No, I think he's going to be a main bad guy. I think it'd be really cool because he can take over Vision's body still, and he's one of the only intellectual. He's pretty much Jarvis.
Didn't they destroy Ultron though?
Yeah, but Ultron, they destroy Ultron a million times in the comics, I'm sure too.
Yeah,
you know,
But I mean, Ultron didn't exist until Tony created Ultron, and so it has to take place after that, right?
Ghost to the machine type thing where he's maybe just laying dormant.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I'd say they're gonna probably bring back Ultron for just future MCU roles. He is a big villain, I think, that they kind of just let sleep after one movie.
Yeah.
So and he's a big one.
It's a pretty big movie.
It was a pretty big movie, definitely.
All right.
Yeah, that one's super exciting.
Cool. That's awesome. I'm excited for that.
This one I have an Anaconda remake based around the film crew trying to make an Anaconda remake.
Yeah.
And find out it's real, starring Jack Black and Paul Rudd.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
That sounds so funny.
Great. I mean, if you're gonna make an Anaconda remake, I think that's the perfect way to do an Anaconda remake. Because the first, Anaconda is just a ridiculous movie.
I haven't seen it.
You've never seen Anaconda? Oh man,
it's wild.
I think you need to watch it because you got Owen Wilson, and he's just being Owen Wilson, and then you also have Jon Voight. But for some reason, I don't know if this was a character choice or if this was just the director or what it was, but Jon Voight throws on this really crazy accent for the movie. Yeah, and it's not
based in anything?
No, and it's not a good accent either. But the entire movie, he's got this crazy accent. I think it's definitely something you gotta check out. It's a one-time watch for sure.
All right, well, yeah, I mean, this second one sounds awesome. So
especially
if I'm gonna really get the most out of it, I gotta watch Anaconda.
I think so. You gotta watch it a couple
times. I think Paul Rudd and Jack Black together is gonna be a good team. I don't know. Have we ever seen them in anything together?
No, that's why I thought it was so cool because I'm those are two different groups of comedian
comedy.
Going together.
It sounds like this generation's Tropic Thunder.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Although Jack Black was in Tropic Thunder.
Jack Black was.
That was
his
Jack
group.
Black gives to everyone.
Yeah.
He's gonna give to this generation. He's given to before.
That's what I mean though. Is I think that. Paul Rudd and Jack Black together, their comedy will really play off of each other.
I think so too.
I think they're going to really, feed each other.
They're both the two people that everyone loves. They're comedy legends, and
that was before we thought that when we thought Jack Black said that stuff, and it was actually Kyle Gass.
Yeah,
there was a brief moment we were like, "Did Jack Black say that?" No, it was Kyle Gass.
Yeah.
Actually, I just was scrolling on Threads this morning. And I saw a picture of Jack Black and his son walking on the street. Mm-hmm. It's scary how much Jack Black looks like his son.
Really?
Jack Black's son looks him. He's literally like a mini Jack Black.
It's funny because Jack Black's a mini child who dresses in tight t-shirts and short shorts. And
it's crazy. Hold on,
and
a backpack.
Real quick.
Yeah. Oh, because he's starting to go gray and growing out his hair.
And he's like a young child.
Dressing like a child.
A 60-year-old guy.
This has got to be real, right?
He's shorter than.
Whoa.
He looks like Nacho Libre era Jack Black.
Yeah. He looks like Jack Black's son looks like he's walking Jack Black to school.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like in that picture. That's exactly it.
That's so funny. So that one we're gonna check out. We'll definitely check out the original Anaconda with Trev. And then the last one, I know you guys haven't seen this, but Overlord, an anime, a pretty popular anime, struck a deal with IMAX to release their movies on IMAX screens, which is crazy. Because Overlord, it's like an RPG anime where this guy gets stuck inside of a game and becomes like an OP or an overpowered like warlord where he can do whatever he wants, And they're making a movie based off it.
Is it live action?
No.
It's gonna be an anime.
No, it's gonna be an anime, and they're really with movies usually they up the budget for the animation.
Yeah.
Plus, this is already a very good animation.
On top of that, IMAX. Have we ever seen anime in IMAX?
That's what I was thinking. I've never personally.
Screen. That's gonna be fun.
But it's gonna be really cool, yeah.
Plus, with not only the screen, but like just the resolution,
Exactly, yeah. It's gonna be
really so they're producing it with that in mind, that it's gonna be released and they're not just putting it on a big screen.
Yeah,
right.
That's
They're not just
awesome.
blowing it up. It's actually like made for IMAX screens.
For IMAX screens.
So
I don't think I've ever seen an animated movie. I don't know. This might be the first animated movie ever made for an IMAX screen.
Yeah, as far
specifically,
as I know.
That's what I was. Yeah, I
Don't
personally
quote me
haven't
on
thought
that.
of
We need
one.
to do research.
Yeah, but especially anime. I have not seen an anime in an IMAX theater.
Yeah,
personally. But yeah, super exciting.
Now, does that have any tie to like the Overlord movie that came out?
No, not at all.
No,
not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's completely its own thing.
I never saw that movie.
Overlord the movie.
Yeah,
that one's about zombies.
The zombie, like World War II zombie movie.
Yeah, that one's also a good movie. It's not, but it's a fun movie.
Who's in that one? Is it John Boyega?
I think it is John Boyega. I haven't seen it in a long time. But
I haven't seen it at all. So
yeah,
but yeah, super exciting about that one too. But if you want to let's dive into the new trailers.
The first one that we have is the Lord of the Rings anime that's coming out, which is. I mean, do I need to say anything about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for it.
Do we need to say anything? Really,
I feel like
got me
I
sold.
think we have to move on to the next one.
You got me sold on Lord of the Rings anime. Come on, man.
If you're not into that, nothing we say is going to get you excited.
I'm a Lord of the Rings slut, and I will take any Lord of the Rings content that they give us. I mean, we have that Ravensburger Lord of the Ring
the board game,
and I
so much fun.
I've been trying to get everybody to play it with me, but so far Trevor's the only one who enjoys playing it with me. And I think we've probably played it 100 times in the past, 6 months.
Yeah, we've only had it for 6 months. We've put a lot of hours.
Hours into it, and you can. That's the nice thing about it is you can put a lot of hours into it. I think it's awesome. If you guys have not heard of it or checked it out, check it out because it's like chess meets I don't even know a card game.
Isn't it kind of like a mix between Villainous?
Kind of. It's a little bit like Villainous. It's not as much like Villainous as you would think it is. It's almost a little bit like and don't quote me on this either, but like Yu-Gi-Oh meets chess.
Really?
Yeah, well, because you got like the board game with your pieces that you got to move along the path, and you got the different cards you can play. But then it's also set up in chapters. So if you fail too many chapters, then you have this the eye, so we're on the counter.
Yeah.
And if that reaches all the way to the end, you have to restart the entire game.
Really?
You have to go back to chapter 1.
It's so fun. But yeah, I'll have to play it. Honestly, I'll play it with you guys. Okay, you guys sold me on it.
Please.
I'll try it. We'll jump back on a couple next week, and I'll let you know how I liked it.
It's great because like Trev said, you played it in chapters too, so you can play the first 2 chapters, and if that takes you 2 hours, you could just be like, all right, well, we'll just save the next couple chapters for the next time,
Yeah.
And then if that takes you 20 minutes, depending on how good you are, you can move on. You can roll through.
But it's when you can just set up and go in. It's like a Dungeons and Dragons type
a little
situation
bit like where you can set it up, and you don't even have to leave it out though, because you're
starting
a whole new chapter.
Quote unquote, leave it out, where you can jump back to where you're at.
Anyway, Lord of the Rings anime, you got me sold. I've actually been watching this one for a while, keeping my eye on this one for a while, and I'm so happy that it's finally coming out. Do you know when it's coming out?
I want to say beginning of next year. I think it's going to be coming out. I'm not completely sure yet, but...
I thought it was the end of this year.
Yeah, you know what? Just check it out.
Well, while you're checking that out, I think the next trailer we have on the docket is Y2K. We just watched that trailer, and it looks crazy.
Yeah, it's wild looking.
Yeah.
And I love the concept, too, because that was a crazy time. Yeah, Tim, you wouldn't remember it because that was around when you were born.
Tim
right?
was
Y2K,
born
yeah.
right after it.
I was
Right
born
after
right
Y.
after
I
it,
mean,
yeah.
not that I remembered. I was born in '95, so I was only 5 years
And also-
old when Y2K rolled around.
I remember it a little bit.
Do you?
Yeah, born in '94, so would have been like 5, 6 ish.
So old.
Right.
I know I'm so old, but yeah, I remember cause yeah, like my dad would talk about because he was in tech, so he like knew like the timers are gonna flip over because we're hitting 2000, a bunch of stuff's gonna reset, and so people have to search through code to try to figure out like how to keep the infrastructure from shutting down.
Yeah.
Because he was in it, he's like, I'm pretty sure like nothing's gonna happen. He's like, I know kind of how most of the code looks, and we're probably gonna be fine, but people go crazy.
Yeah,
And
people.
that's kind of like what this movie is based off of. So we still stocked up on stuff. I remember our pantry with like a bunch of 2 liters of water and
Yeah.
like those like candle flames
Yeah.
and like it's just a pantry full of like doomsday food
Yeah.
because we're like pretty sure the infrastructure's not shut down, but people might go crazy.
People might go
and that's
crazy,
the
and that
exact
will shut
idea of this
everything
movie,
down.
and
It's
I love it.
crazy. It's crazy that Y2K was such a big thing because we felt like the world was gonna shut down because our computers shut down, but we were only we were like not that far into like personal computing, you know?
Yeah.
We were pretty short, and it already had us in a chokehold, you know?
Right.
But it would have, I think it was more worried about like the water shutting down, the
Yeah.
electric, like everything going
Was
down.
controlled by that type of stuff,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what the movie is. You know, people do go crazy in the movie, but also computers go crazy.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah, so I did check it out. It's Lord of the Rings, the anime, The War for Rome, is set to be released December 13th. But this Y2K movie, it's Kyle Mooney's directing debut.
Is it his directing debut?
Yeah, I believe it is.
Kyle
or
Mooney, one of
wide release.
the greatest SNL alum.
Yeah, he's so funny. And Jonah Hill is producing it.
Which makes a lot of sense because as we were watching the trailer, we were literally saying this is like a thriller, super bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense.
Reminds
right.
you of This Is the End a bunch.
It reminds you a little bit like this is. It's like if this is in the end and Superbad had a baby, this is what this is what it would be.
Yeah.
You know, an end of the world coming of age story of 2 young kids just trying to get their dicks wet.
Yeah.
Well, I still can't get past like the main character looking like Daniel Radcliffe and all the Spider-Men rolled into one.
Maybe he should be the next Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was in the It series, and the new It ones that Andy Muschietti did.
Yeah.
And what does he play?
He plays Bill.
He plays Bill.
the main
Yeah,
character.
young Bill.
Yeah.
Young Bill. He plays young Bill. Has a great stutter.
He has a great stutter.
He does. Very good
yeah.
at stuttering.
Very
yeah.
good. Yeah.
Listen,
And-
so I haven't seen the new It because
I
a
know.
lot of
Really?
people have ragged on it. So it's like, all right, if it's just jump scares and that stuff, like I don't want to see that one, like the good story. But
Yeah.
you've been talking it up a little bit. You saying I should watch it?
People don't understand it because people don't like things that veer away, which is funny because The Shining is probably the biggest example of something that veered away from the source material, and people are like, "That was awesome,"
But
Yeah.
that's the one Stephen King.
But that's
hates
the one
most.
that Stephen King hates the most. But truth be told, I think there's good points in this one that really tie to the story, like the original source material, and there's points that they add in. But the same thing with the original with Tim Curry, where there's different points that they hit and different points that don't add up. So.
Yeah, Trev, if you watch the new ones, you're definitely going to be stuck in a catch-22 of, you'll watch the first one and say, oh, wow, that was pretty good probably,
Yeah.
Based off the story. And the second one kind of goes downhill, but it has a really good cast. So you'll be like, well, I'm already halfway through, so you'll have to...
Well, the second one opens up with one of the big parts from the books, though, that they've never
didn't make
touched
it.
on before.
Yeah, it didn't make it into
and that's what I'm
TV
saying
movie.
is Andy Muschietti does give it, I think, the justice it deserves, even though it's not, exactly what you would want, but you can't do a scene for scene from the book.
You can't, no matter what.
No,
It's going to be
that'd be impossible.
you'd have to
It's
have
a
like a
huge
4-part. It wouldn't be within 2 hours
Yeah.
each. Yeah, it's very hard.
And
There's a lot of content and a lot of small nuances.
And we love Pennywise,
book.
but I don't know if we love Pennywise for 4 movies,
Yeah, that'd be a lot.
That'd be a lot of Pennywise.
Yeah, you'd have to. I think it would be fun if someone did it right like that and just did a book like page by page. But that's just because I
So
love the book.
That'd be more of like a limited series type deal.
An
instead of
anime would even be
movies.
cool.
An anime would be awesome too. Yeah.
That would
Just-
actually. I think that Stephen King's It would
It
do
would be a
really
good
well as an anime.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one before. I like that
I'd be into
idea.
that. I'd be into a lot of
Yeah.
different Stephen King's as like an anime or an animation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that kid was also in that new Netflix Stephen King adaptation, Mr. Harrigan's Phone, which was in the If It Bleeds, I think, collection, which came out maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good. You know, it was him and Donald Sutherland, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was okay. It's not the best. I don't understand. I don't really know why they decided to produce Mr. Harrigan's Phone, because there's like a lot of other great stories, and that one was like, is this the one we should be doing?
Yeah. Yeah. But after, next, I mean, I get it. We talk a lot about Lord of the Rings, but it just happens to be that the Lord of the Rings of Power Season 2 trailer just dropped. The second trailer just dropped earlier this week. But I haven't seen it. And Trev, have you seen it? You've never seen?
No, I haven't seen the first season yet.
Right.
Yeah. I am.
But Josh, if you want to kind of talk about like what you're excited for.
Well, people don't like the Lord of the Rings of Power 1, which is crazy because I think it had like $1 billion budget. You know, like
a budget doesn't mean anything.
I think it had the biggest Amazon budget.
It did.
Or the biggest TV show budget.
The biggest TV show budget, and I don't understand quite why people don't like it. I just don't understand why people don't like it. I shouldn't say I don't understand. I do understand why people don't like it. And it's because people are like, oh, this isn't the Lord of the Rings. Oh, they're taking too many liberties. But what you got to realize is Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, is based off of the books, right? Mm-hmm. Now, J.R.R. Tolkien, when he wrote the books, they're actually written as one book. It's like The Hobbit. But they're too long, so the editors said we got to break it up into 3 books. So, okay, we break it up into 3 books, and now we view it as 3 different, kind of 3 defining stories in the same continuum.
Even though it's really just one big
arc. Though it's just one big arc.
They did a good job of splitting it up.
They did.
The mini arcs within the movies worked really well.
And the books, I think they did a good job of like where to cut it and where to pick it back up. Mm-hmm. The Hobbit's the same way, but The Hobbit was one book, because it was shorter, and they split it up into 3 movies to kind of go with the 3 movies of The Lord of the Rings, you know? And that was okay too. That was good too. I like that too. And people have their opinions on The Hobbit. But the Rings of Power, you got to realize that there's really no source material for this. Mm-hmm. Like the Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit are like the only 2 books that J.R.R. Tolkien actually wrote. Everything else is like the first 4 or 5 chapters of the Bible, where it's just like a bunch of like little segments of like.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of history.
It's like a lot of history. Yeah, it's like and they read like history books. So I mean, this is pretty. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good, and that's because I give it a little bit more liberty than I think people give it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people don't like that Galadriel was like a warrior.
Yeah.
In it, but I think it's cool. I think it plays. The 2 main characters of the Rings of Power are going to be Galadriel and Elrond when they're younger, and this is right when Sauron is kind of coming of age and taking power and forging the rings. And now, at the end, the whole mystery of the first season is who is Sauron? We don't know. We don't know what's going on. We don't know who it is. We're trying to figure it out as an audience. And I think at the very end, we finally figure it out for like a brief moment. And now this season, it looks like they're going to be bringing Sauron in kind of where he's actually forging the rings and gaining his power. But he's also going to be taking different shapes because Sauron takes different shapes. So it's going to be different, different looks. And again, you're not going to really know who Sauron is necessarily, maybe, because he's going to be taking different, personas.
Not a lot of mystery. That'll be fun.
I agree.
Yeah. And then lastly, we have Francis Ford Coppola's Megapolis, which is Francis Ford Coppola obviously did the Godfather movies and
Apocalypse Now,
a lot of classics. And they actually touched on that in the trailer, that they showed that the beginning of the trailer starts out with all of his classic movies and how they were all critically reviewed and kind of bashed on when they first came out, but now they're classics. Mm-hmm. And I think he's really playing towards that with this new Megapolis trailer.
Well, I agree. I think he's playing towards that. But on top of that, I think the history of Megapolis really requires him to play towards that.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He tried writing this, or he's been working on this for like 40 years, you know? And like, as a critically acclaimed of a director as he is, like nobody would make it, Mm-hmm. So he decided to just self-fund it himself.
Which is a major reason I'm going to go see it in theaters.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of my opinion on it. I want to watch it.
Yeah.
I should preface
it looks
by
great.
that. I want to watch it
project.
regardless.
It's completely a passion
But
project.
I think everyone should go watch it in theaters just to support people making their true vision of art. Like, he's putting his own money on the line because he believes in it that much.
Yeah.
And that reason alone should be enough to go see it.
Which is crazy because there was a lot of drama around it when he self-funded the production, made the movie, and then because nobody else would make it. And then he couldn't even get it picked up in film festivals. Finally, it gets picked up in, I think, either Sundance or the Cannes, whatever it is, film festival. And
I think it's I don't know.
Depends on who you are.
what?
So it depends on who you are, your
yeah.
dialect is.
Yeah. But and then it gets picked up in one of those or something like that, and got great reviews, you know. But then it was hard for him to actually get a distribution deal, you know. So it's been like a wild ride for this guy, and you know that not only is he putting his own money on the line, but he's putting his own like pride on the line. You know, it's like he's a critically acclaimed director. Like he opens the trailer with talking about how the critics bashed The Godfather when it first came out. The critics bashed Apocalypse Now when it first came out.
It's all the negative reviews flashing across.
Bram Stoker's Dracula when it first came out. And those three movies are three movies that we look back on now and we regard as like the like holy grail of movies.
Like, these are like high class.
These are like
classics. These are
you know what I'm saying? Like they're like certified classics, you know? And even it just goes to show that it doesn't matter who you are. Mm-hmm. Hollywood will always try and silence you.
But don't let them.
But
that's Hollywood, baby. Yeah.
That's Hollywood, baby.
But yeah.
But it looks good.
I think it looks
stacked cast. Cool cinema. It looks like there's like some cool CGI and like cool graphics.
And of course we love Adam Driver.
And of course we love Adam Driver.
And I think, definitely the cinematography is going to be really cool in it. Even though it looks a lot of CGI, it looks like it looks fun. I'll say that.
Yeah, it definitely looks like the one thing that he maybe didn't struggle on was getting a team of talented people.
Yeah,
man, we're with you. You know,
that's true. That's true. He probably got a ton of people. Like, I'd work with Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah,
of course.
As an actor or crew member, I would 100% jump on that project.
I don't think it matters who you are. That's a very easy ask.
Yes, definitely. But let's just jump into it. For the Movie Weekly, we had Oddity, Damian McCarthy's Oddity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Trev, that was...
I chose it. You're so bad at this.
Third time in a row.
Second time in a row.
Second.
But you're so bad at this. Oddity. I chose Oddity. And I chose Oddity because I was let down by Longlegs.
Yeah, I was disappointed by Longlegs.
I was a little bit let down by Longlegs. And nothing against Oz Perkins or whatever his name is. But... it wasn't...
definitely, he's figuring himself out.
He
like,
totally
you go
is.
and watch his previous movies. This is definitely... like, Longlegs was definitely an improvement. And
It's
so I'm excited
definitely
to see what he does next
from the Black
if he
Coat's
keeps
Daughter.
improving.
Yeah.
But
at the end of the day, it kind of fell a little bit short for me, especially because the marketing was so good for it and really made it seem like this was going to be scary. Oddity came out at the same time as Longlegs in theaters. And nobody knew about it. Nobody talked about
right
it.
under the radar.
Right under the radar. Because Longlegs kind of triumphed, you know. And it's a better movie than Longlegs.
Oh, yeah.
It actually sits and it has a better score right now than Longlegs on all three. Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb.
Yeah, it's like almost a perfect score.
It is. It's like, I think it's riding like a 7.5 on IMDb right now. And it totally deserves it. I watch a lot of horror movies and I don't necessarily scream. But I screamed a couple times in this one.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, they picked really good moments to choose jump scares. Like, you weren't expecting it. And the story overall, super refreshing. It was new.
It was a kind of it was like a fun story. It was a simple story, but it was like a good simple story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you just kept taking you down different paths and kind of thinking about little things. It wasn't too over the top, but it still had so much to offer.
Yeah, I think that the end for me was a little bit lackluster, but towards the end there was like a sub arc third act coming to where they kind of actually show what happened, because there's a question at the beginning of the movie that kind of like jumps into the middle of a situation about this lady who ends up dying. Actually, but which is the whole plot's around, and they actually show how it happened because it's a mystery in the beginning, and I think that was the scary part. That one, like you were saying, like had me like on the edge of my seat.
It definitely had
like really bad.
I think I screamed like 3 times.
Yeah,
and I don't ever scream.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're able to go back and explain how everything's going on through the story without just being like straight exposition, just talking about it.
Yeah. But I think overall it was fun, even though I didn't necessarily like the ending.
The ending was
I
a little
liked
bit.
it.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
That's fair.
It was a little bit lackluster. It may be, that's just maybe me because I'm a horror fiend and I'm always I always want like the pedal. I feel like we've been let down by horror movies so much, so it's like now I just want a horror movie that's like pedal to the fucking metal, the entire thing, And this one did feel like it was a masterclass in suspense,
Yeah.
If nothing else, I definitely screamed a couple times, but I was literally on the edge of my seat the entire movie, and where it was like, oh my, what's gonna happen? What's gonna, what?
Yeah.
I get it,
And the people who made it, they knew that they had so much to offer because there were some things that, like one of the murder scenes, like they really could have drawn that out and shown a ton, but it was like 3 quick beats and it was done.
And it was
done. Right.
Because they knew they had so much content that they had in that movie, they could just like give a quick murder scene that was cool and refreshing, kind of different take, instead of like really just showing it all and being insane over the top with the gore.
Right. Now, this is Damien McCarthy, the director's second big movie besides Caveat, which came out in 2020. I've not seen Caveat.
I
but
want to watch Caveat. You sold me on this.
I was going to say, especially, and it's a Shudder streaming produced, right?
Yeah.
It was a Shudder movie.
It's a Shudder original, which, again, I've been saying this for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and any young horror filmmakers out there, heed my words. Shudder is going to be the new A24. Give it about 5 years, and they're going to be the biggest horror production company on the block.
We'll see about that.
I don't know. After this, I'm with it.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think Shudder's got some good movies, definitely.
Listen,
too.
Shudder. I've been a Shudder fan from the beginning. I used to pay for the Shudder streaming service, and they were trash horror movies. Like they would just put out the lowest of the lowest quality horror movies.
Yeah.
And it was bad, But in the past like 1.5 years, they've just been dropping like 1 or 2 bombs every year. And I think they're trying to ramp it up. They're trying. And I don't think it's by accident. I think it's with intention. They're trying to up their game. They want to be bigger.
I think that it's increasingly getting easier to make a good movie on a smaller budget too. So I think that's another reason that Shudder is kind of making better quality stuff.
They're capitalizing on it though, for sure.
Yeah.
They're capitalizing.
And it could just be like, as a smaller company when they're first starting out, that's all they could do is put out those lower tier ones because lack of funding and connections. And now that they've started to make a little bit of traction, they're able to actually get out what they want. Right?
Well, you got to think about it. A24 has grown to be a giant now. Blumhouse has grown to be a giant now. Bad Robot has grown to be a giant now. And those 3 were like the big indie horror filmmakers that if you wanted to make if you had like a really good horror idea and nobody else would touch it, these three would be like, yeah, man, we got you. We'll do it. And I think they're a little bit too big now, and I think we know from example that Blumhouse has kind of fallen down. James Wan hasn't been hitting as hard as he used to hit.
No. And
there's a lot of A24 horror that's come out. That's some of it's really good. Talk to Me was really good, but some of it's not that great anymore.
Yeah.
Like Longlegs. Well, that was Neon though, wasn't it? Or was that A24?
I don't remember.
I think it was Neon actually. I take that back.
But I'm not sure.
Even so, I think that this one, Shudder was behind them the entire way, and I think that they're better for it. And I hope to see them be putting out more stuff like this, and I hope that we can work with them in the future.
Yeah, it was definitely a simple. They really played around it. It seemed like it didn't cost a ton of money to do either. Like even a lot of the killing was a before and after. It wasn't like the act of like murdering somebody. So
I did notice that there's one scene in there where, and I thought about this in the movie, is there's one scene where we're seeing an inmate who is going and like he hears something outside of his door and he goes checks it out, and then he goes into the next room and sees that somebody was killed, but they don't actually show it until like the very last second, and it's only for like a brief moment. The entire thing is like waist up. The entire shot is like waist up, and it's like they could have definitely really pushed this, to like be like, here's all the blood and gore, But I think they took a page out of H.P. Lovecraft's book.
Yeah. I mean, and not to mention the main killing of the lady who this is kind of centered around.
Yeah.
It was like him walking up to her, and then the next scene was him with his blood all over.
Yeah, and that's exactly, I think that's exactly what we want. And if you're gonna study the masters, H.P. Lovecraft said, the monster is typically scarier in the closet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I think this movie has one of the best "what would I do" situations. You put yourself in that character's
It's
position,
definitely a rock and a
like
hard
where you're
place.
like, I don't know what I would do in that situation either. Like that, it feels real.
It's kind of like the same situation as The Strangers.
Yeah, it's exactly the same situation.
Yeah, where you're
as
kind of
Strangers.
like, man, this is like
This
like,
could happen.
I don't feel safe outside or inside.
Yeah, yeah, and it's very plausible that this happens.
Yeah.
It's to somebody.
You're given no good choices.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm kind of screwed either way.
Oddity. It's officially out on streaming. Go stream it. Let us know what you think. We're really interested because I would love to talk to you about this.
Very good movie. Very good movie. Do you think it got the stamp of approval, Josh?
I give it the Pink Moose stamp.
Give it the Pink Moose stamp of approval.
And I don't want you guys to think that I'm going to give everything the Pink Moose stamp of approval, but it just so happens.
We just started it.
It just so happens that the last two movies are certified Pink Moose fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, if we were to go back through some of the others we watched, I would definitely not stamp.
Definitely some rotten ones. Yeah.
There's been some Rocky movies from movie.
There's been some Rocky ones.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But we're not going to go in the past. We're only going to go look forward.
Mm-hmm.
So this week is Connor.
Yep.
And Connor's on the podcast right now, but Connor did choose his movie weekly, and for next week we're going to be talking about Wedding Crashers because I guess he's never seen it before, and that's one that everybody must see at least once, at least 10 times.
They could change up, throw comedy in there. We've been watching a lot of like drama and horror.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have a lot of comedy, definitely, or just a comedy movie within this big realm of horror movies we've been watching, thrillers,
and there's really no better horror, or there's really no better comedy movie than Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, it's definitely in top 5. I think funniest movies I've seen.
I wouldn't say it's number 1 overall
You guys
forever
are-
and
I don't
ever,
know.
but
You guys
it's
are
good.
crazy.
I think
It's better
top
than
5.
Superbad. It's better than Talladega Nights. It's better than Step Brothers.
It's not better than This Is the End.
It's better than This Is the End.
No, it's not, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say This Is the End. It's better than that. But you know what? We'll watch it. We'll come back.
Yep.
I'll
Join
give
us
you
next
some
week.
movies that are better, but I got to refresh.
You're wrong.
And we'll give
I'll
you the
shoot
whole
them all
rundown.
down.
Yeah. But yeah, so next we got some new foods. I got the honey butter Lay's chips, which we can try if you guys want to try those. And then the zombies Takis, which are a seasonal Taki flavor that have been coming out since 2017 in subsequent years. Not every year. I think it was last year and then this year. But this is the first week they started giving them out again because it's starting to become fall. So I grabbed some of those just because for the fall season. So let's try those. Yeah.
The honey butter's really good. It's not too different from a normal chip.
I think the honey butter is actually a little bland. I feel like it tastes like an unsalted chip, and you don't really get the taste. You like the aftertaste. The honey is. I should say the butter is there in the aftertaste.
The
But
butter's
honey's
definitely
not.
there in the aftertaste. Not on.
But the honey's not really there.
Yeah.
Maybe the honey and the salt are just canceling each other out.
Yeah. Quick palate cleanse with some ginger.
Yeah, I do like it. Not as much as some of the other chips, but yeah, let's try these Takis.
It's no tzatziki.
Regular tzatziki.
And what are these? What are these Takis?
They're called zombie. I don't really know what the flavor is, but they're a seasonal chip.
Almost tastes like.
I like
It almost tastes like an avocado flavored taco.
it. Does. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
It tastes like the avocado flavored taki, and I'm into it. I like a little bit less heat on the taki. A little more
It's not
flavor.
too spicy.
No, it's not that spicy. But I definitely like my
Regular
original
Takis?
Takis.
Really?
Actually, to be honest with you, Trader Joe's has a better Taki than Takis has a Taki.
Yeah, that's what I've
Those
been hearing.
Takis are so good.
That's what I've been hearing you guys say. I'm not usually a taki person, but I do like those a lot. I would give the Takis the stamp of approval, definitely. But the honey butter chips, I don't know, might be left out in the cold for me.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the honey butter. Honestly, I might give that bag away.
Yeah, that
Sell it on Facebook Marketplace.
Got an open bag of honey butter. Who
Reheat
wants
seal it.
Yeah, seal it. Break out the flat iron.
Yeah. I think Tim actually has one of those sealers.
I do have a resealer. Oh, it broke. I think someone broke it.
Oh, bummer.
But yeah. But yeah, next week got some other good things. Some other ones I already picked up. So
we have a couple more Takis to try,
Yep.
and I think we picked up a can of the hot fudge sundae liquid death. That
We
have-
did.
that we should try.
as well as a new Cheeto. So
A new Cheeto.
yeah,
Wait, I haven't heard about this. What
Yeah,
are we talking?
a new Cheeto. Yeah, we'll save it for next week.
All
I'll
right,
show you guys.
Keep
I'll
me in
show you guys.
suspense.
I'll keep you guys in suspense for a little bit longer. So yeah, join us next week for those. And then let's jump into solo missions. And Trev, what have you been watching? What have you been doing?
So I started The Stand like 3 months ago, and I'm doing it on audiobook, and it's like a 47 and something hour audiobook, which is huge. And I thought as we made our trip out from Chicago to LA, and it's like a 30-some hour drive, I thought I'd get a lot through. Did not get anywhere in it.
You were too stressed.
So yeah, that was a
stressful
pretty
drive.
stressful drive. But I recently started listening to it, and over the past 3 days, I've listened to like 30 hours worth of it. So I'm gonna finish it today at
Oh,
work.
get out, really?
Yeah, I got like 10 or 11 hours left.
What do you think?
So it's so good.
Wait, what part are you at?
I am at where. I don't know. Okay, yeah. Just like spoilers for anyone who's in it. We're just gonna like jump
There's
in.
the
out.
80s.
Yeah, it came out in the 80s.
That's true. It's old. It's past spoiler point. All right.
Not only that, they
Forgot
also
about
give it
that.
ya.
2 TV series.
I'm just
about
so
it.
far behind, I forget. But yeah, I'm at the point where they've started to send people as spies to
Right.
check out Randall Flagg.
Yeah.
Oh,
Trev, I remember-
M-O-N, that spells moon.
I remember a specific time, like 6 months ago, where I was like, I'm starting to stand. I'm like, I can't wait for it to talk about it with you.
Yeah.
And so it's
It's been a while.
Who's your favorite character in the group?
Oh, that's hard. I'll think about it as we talk a little bit more.
Okay.
Larry.
Yeah.
Larry.
Larry. I think Larry's
your
really
favorite?
cool.
Larry's
very
the
relatable.
coolest character,
Larry's
and
probably-
Larry's probably the best. Larry's probably actually the true main character.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Even
I
though,
would say so.
even
Yeah.
though it seems like you might have Stu as the main character, I think Larry's the real main character.
I think like Larry and Fran.
Mm-hmm.
I think Stu is the leader, but that doesn't always have to coincide with the main character.
Have you met Trash Can Man yet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Close
Wild.
up half a Gary. Which I
Yeah.
love. Like, I didn't realize before I got into Stephen King how much he throws into his books from like around the places he grew up. Because he grew up in several places. Like, he kind of ended up in Maine for a while, but before that, he was in like Fort Wayne and Chicagoland area. So
Yeah.
he throws in like stuff I'm familiar with growing up in that
Yeah.
area, where he's talking about like specific roads and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's so nice. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
It is so nice. Stephen King, a man about town.
Mm-hmm. And then even from Maine, you haven't even been to Maine. But if you read enough Stephen King, you start to recognize the streets.
I've never been to Maine, and I feel like I've seen
I can get around.
a billion postcards to Maine.
But no, it's so fun. That's such a good book.
It is so good. Have you met? Obviously you've met Harold.
Yeah.
Harold's pretty.
Harold's
great.
wild.
He's probably into Harold.
Yeah.
Like into his.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm at like the point where Nadine and Harold are together now.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about Randall Flagg or not Randall Flagg's? Yeah, Randall Flagg. I always get Randall Flagg and Rick Flag mixed up now.
Randall
Yeah, I
Flagg.
keep thinking about that too as I'm listening. Every time they say Randall Flagg, like
Yeah.
Rick Flag also goes.
Yeah. What do you think about Randall Flagg's right-hand man?
So I haven't gotten a ton of him yet.
No. Have you
No.
seen him get him out of jail yet?
Yeah.
Where he's
I'll tell you what, Lloyd is a lot less poignant of a character in the book.
Is he?
I would say,
Spoiler,
especially 'cause
I've never read the entire book. It's too long for me.
What?
It's too big of an investment.
But
here I thought I was just catching up. I'm getting
But
ahead
Lloyd,
now.
yeah, he's a very big character in both TV shows. They really like draw him out. I don't think he doesn't have that personality in the book too, but it's not as like talked about.
Have you ever? Well, it's in the book though. It's still he has to
Yeah,
eat the
yeah,
rat.
yeah. It's all the same.
Yeah.
It's just not.
He's like
as,
starving in
yeah.
jail. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Have you seen either of the two miniseries?
No.
Oh,
we finished that.
man.
Let's watch the original one.
We gotta watch both of
With
them.
Gary, I know, but I'm saying we should jump into it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the It series, where some of them get some stuff right. It's actually the same thing. The new one has the casting right only, I think. but the old one has the story right.
Well, the original one, the main Stu is Lieutenant Dan. Gary Sinise. Yeah.
And actually, you know who's the guy that says Moon?
Actually, yeah. So Tom
is Patrick.
Is actually
Patrick.
Patrick.
That spells bedtime.
Yeah, and it's perfect because the guy in the original one who plays Tom Cullen is Bill Fagerbach, I guess, or
the voice of Patrick.
He's the voice of Patrick from
SpongeBob. Isn't that so funny?
So you just hear Patrick.
What?
Yeah. M-O-O-M, that spells bomb. You know, the entire time, and it just sounds like
That's
Patrick.
perfect.
Patrick's
And it's
talk.
really funny being paired with Nick as who is it? It's
in that one.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe
It's
is.
Rob Lowe,
No,
isn't
Rob
it?
Lowe. Yeah, he is
Yeah.
Nick in that one. That's right, and he's got the eye
Yeah.
patch. Yeah, that's right. He is the original one.
Yeah, so that's a really fun dynamic too. So we should watch. We should jump through those.
Yeah.
And in the new one, Stu is James Marsden, and the new one has like a stacked cast. It's like
You want
really
to hear
good.
that was funny?
Yeah.
Nicole is the lady that Harold's with, right? Or what's her name?
No, it's
Like
Fran.
Nadine.
Nadine.
Nadine
Yeah.
is Amber Heard.
In the new series.
Which kind of makes sense. And you're like, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too perfect.
Yeah. And this is pre-death trial,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, Nadine was Amber Heard. Yeah, Stu is James Marsden. It's like a really
Trash Can Man is
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller.
Alright.
And he does a great job as it too, honestly. And then Randall Flagg is Alexander Skarsgård.
In the new one, yeah. He is, you're right.
Yeah. And it's great. It's great.
He's taking over the Stephen King universe then.
Yeah, he's been in a couple.
The screen.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it's great. Well, the Skarsgårds in general, because Bill is Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The
Skarsgårds in general, because Bill is
Bill's
Pennywise.
coming back as Pennywise now.
Bill is coming back as Pennywise for the Welcome to Derry and that show, which is like a prequel that Andy Muschietti is doing right now, and it's going to be when Pennywise shows up in Derry.
Okay.
And then he was also, though, J.J. Abrams and Stephen King teamed up for a Hulu original show, like, I don't know, man, maybe it had to be like 10 years ago now, called Castle Rock. And they were doing season arcs, but they were written in the Stephen King universe, but specifically for the screen. So the first season is kind of like an Insomnia-like story, but Bill Skarsgård's in that, and he plays who we think might be the Crimson King.
Yeah.
Like that's like the big speculation in it, which would make a little bit of sense if he's Pennywise and this Crimson King to an extent.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, yeah, they can make it make more sense.
People did it didn't gain as much attention as they had hoped, and they did a second season, and the second season was was like a prequel to Misery, so it was like Annie Wilkes when she was actually a nurse.
Yeah.
And that one was good too. But they didn't do a third season, unfortunately. But that's really cool, man. That's really cool that you're finding out that Stephen King rocks.
Yeah. Have you been watching and doing anything else?
I've been finishing up the Umbrella Academy with
I
you.
was going to try and watch the last episode with you last night, but you guys ended up watching the other show. But we got to finish that. We have the last episode.
Yeah, which sucks because I didn't
sucks.
realize there's only 6 episodes this season. That's not a lot.
No, especially where
Like,
they're at right now.
I keep forgetting how short it is, and that I don't know how they're gonna wrap it up and do justice for the whole story.
I really don't know how they're going to wrap it up in one episode. There's so much going on right now.
That's kind of sad because the Umbrella Academy was such a kind of a big success when it first came out.
Yeah,
you know,
and the first season was amazing. The second was good.
Did Umbrella Academy
I was
come
going
out
to
before
say it was
Stranger Things?
prior. No, I don't think so. I think it was the year after Stranger Things. But it was prior to The Boys and Invincible, where it was like superheroes that aren't necessarily DC or Marvel when they started getting big. So I remember being like, this is a superhero show that's not DC or Marvel.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up watching
that
it.
darker side too.
Yeah,
So
I didn't even know it was Gerard Way until afterwards. I was like, oh, it's Gerard. That's how even cooler.
Yeah.
But
But it's a little bit sad that they're not giving it the love, that Netflix is not giving it the love that maybe they should have given it, you know, for the last season.
It feels like they just want to wrap it up.
Yeah,
That
they're kind of
Yeah.
just like, here, you know, you're done. Just give us your last season, and this is what we're giving you. Whereas, like, personally, in my solo missions, I am finishing up the final season of Evil.
Okay.
And when I first started Evil, the first 3 seasons were already out, and I just binged them and fell in love. It was so good. But after the 3rd season, they announced that they're going to do a 4th season, but it's going to be their last season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what they did though, or I should say, Evil is a Paramount Plus show, and what they did is they said, okay, well, you can do your 4th season, which I think it was like 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And this will be your last season. But we'll give you 4 bonus episodes that you can release, and that can kind of be like a small arc up to what the 5th season was going to be, because they had it planned out. You know what I'm saying? And I actually am on the last episode of that little like tag that they put on there, and I haven't finished it yet, but it just dropped on Tuesday, so I'm gonna watch it and check it out. But cool. I think that, you know, even if Netflix is a little bit too big, and I feel like they don't treat everybody right, you know.
Yeah, like after we watch this last episode and see how it goes.
Trev, I don't know.
I may try to start a Sense8 campaign where they come back and do a little bit more.
I don't know. I don't know they introduced a giant subplot that is like a main subplot in the semi-finale.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna.
Yeah, they went off on something that they could have done way more with, and then just wrapped it up within the episode.
They should have not had that. It would have probably been better because it would have had less to wrap up. And they introduced it. It's not like it was like something that was like building momentum over the series.
Yeah. Like, it was a great episode if they had more
if
episodes.
They had like 9 episodes. Yes,
well,
exactly.
if there's one thing that the world has taught us, it's that if you're loud enough, you can get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I think enough people
save the Snyderverse or
Snyder Cut. Yeah.
Snyder Cut.
Save the waivers.
Yeah. Save the waivers. Yeah.
And they all love doing it too.
Hashtag Snyder Cut.
All of the cast. Yeah, they all really love it.
Do they?
I follow them on Instagram, and they're all like very into it. Yeah. So I'm sure they'd be back for it too.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen any of those other people in anything else besides Elliot Page.
Yeah. I've seen the guy who plays Luther. And he's in Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
But besides that, I haven't seen anybody either. I don't think. I want to say I've seen the guy who plays Five a couple times because he has a familiar face to me, but I don't know.
But he's on the younger side. Like,
he is very young.
Yeah.
Yes.
When it first started, he probably like 15 or
He was
something
15.
like that.
He's not even. I think he's 20 now.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah, I think 2003 he was born.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've personally been going through Evil,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm excited to finish that up. And I think, you know, there's definitely some points where it's like, you know, you feel like it might not wrap up, you know, and it's not going to wrap up, but at least you know that they are doing the best they can, and they were given, at least they were treated fairly, you know. They gave this production company a lot of viewership, and at least they're treating them fair, and I think that alone is making me kind of just like, oh, you know, I understand the situation.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Evil is really good. We also just started that new Apple TV show with Vince Vaughn last night, Bad Monkey, and I'm already hooked after one episode. I was like, it was like midnight. Yeah, it was like midnight, and we were like, all right, one more episode.
Another one.
One more episode. Which, honestly, I fell asleep during, so I need to rewatch that one. But, you know, it's really good so far. It's really fresh. It's like a mystery. It takes place in the Keys, but it's got like a funny narrator. You know, it's like everything you want in like just a fun, bright action crime thriller. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch the rest of the season because it's been so good for just 2 episodes in.
I'll have to catch up and jump on with you guys because I do want to watch it too. And I watched the first half of the first episode with you guys.
Yeah, and I love Vince Vaughn. He's my favorite comedian, so I think he hits. So I've been doing that. I also started the first episode of Lady in the Lake, and I'm also really excited to see where that goes, which is another Apple TV show, which is...
Apple's been killing it.
They really have, man. They really have. There's been some stuff that, you know, that falls to the wayside, but overall, I think, you know, they've been killing it. So I'm excited about that.
All right, you got any other solo missions going on, Tim?
Not so much. I have not so much been watching anything, any TV shows or movies, besides what we talked about already. I've been more actually reading comics again. So I love reading comics. I will always pick them up, and I have I love going to comic book stores and stuff. But they had a deal on the Marvel Unlimited, which actually I saw at the comic book store because Josh brought me there for the EC Comics, and it was like 60% off the year, where you get all of Marvel Comics on like your iPad or like an app.
Oh, that's a pretty good deal.
And they have reading guides, and I used to have, but it got to the point where it was like $12.99 a month. So I was like, I'm not. Yeah. So, but it was on such a good deal, and I have it for the year, so I'm like, might as well utilize it. And like I was saying, they have reading guides where it takes different issues and puts them all in order. Like I read the Civil War comic line, I guess, but that's just one continuous line. But now I just finished yesterday. I just finished the Civil War reading guide, which is not just Civil War 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like Fantastic Four, and then under it, Spider-Man. They all tie in together. And there's like 50 different comics that tie in together that give you the full picture. So I just finished that. That was super fun to read. I'd never actually gone through it all, the full one. So that was super fun. And then I started Daredevil Born Again, the Frank Miller Daredevil, which is a little more gritty of a Daredevil. There's like a before and there's an after Frank Miller Daredevil, and it completely changes the character. It's like Batman.
I feel like that's Frank Miller in general.
Yeah, he really pivots the character.
There's a clear distinguishing moment when Frank Miller gets his hands on a character.
Yeah,
after that, all of his, like not all of them, but I would say a lot of his elements are taken.
Definitely.
The character future.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the two things I'm kind of doing. But yeah.
All right. What else we got going on? Let's see.
Well, next we have Would You Rathers.
Yeah, I got a couple Would You Rathers that are kind of on brand. So the first one I got for you guys is, would you rather have known the killer's identity from the beginning of Oddity, or had it remain a surprise until the ending?
I'm actually conflicted about that because they do kind of give you his identity pretty early on.
They do, yeah, and that's one of the things I did not like.
And I thought when I was watching the movie, I thought to myself, oh man, they're really telling us who this killer is right now, But then I thought to myself, well, that's not the mystery of the movie,
No, there's still so much that you're wondering about up until the end.
It's not like that, and I feel like that's one of the things that Longlegs really relied on is who's the killer, why is he doing this type of thing?
Yeah, they put all their weight on one thing, whereas there's a lot going on. They're able to spread out the weight of the movie, and so you could give something away like the legitimate killer of like the main victim, but there's still so many characters doing so much that I feel totally fine with it. I love it.
So I like that. So I would say I would choose the identity of the killer or knowing from where it was.
Yeah. So how it was actually played out. Okay. I would be opposite. That's just my opinion. I think so. But I did not like it too. So I'm good with either.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm good with either. But the next one I got is, would you guys have let the person in Oddity inside your house, or done what the lady did too and run and hide?
That's tricky because as we were watching that, I would say that's probably the longest sequence in the movie.
Yeah,
her debating. It's her debating. It's like a very long sequence of her. There's like in the movie, and this is no spoilers, but in the movie, there's like this woman lives, like her and her husband have bought this new house out in like the boonies. I don't even know where it takes place, but out in like the boonies, and they're remodeling this like old castle.
It's in Ireland somewhere.
In Ireland, something like that. Yeah. And it's far away from other civilization, and her husband works nights, so she's home alone, and
he's a psychiatrist,
or he works for some mental hospital or something.
Yeah.
And and so anyways, so she's home alone at night, and it's kind of eerie because nobody's around you. It's dark out all the time. They don't have any like electricity or anything yet, so she's just working with flashlights.
Yeah, she's like living in a tent in the house because they don't have like proper heat or anything.
There's no furniture or nothing. Yeah, and it's cold. And she goes out to her car to try and find her cell phone because she can't find her cell phone. And when she goes back in the house, she hears a knock at the door, and she's kind of scared. So she opens up like the little peephole thing, and there's somebody standing there with like crazy eyes,
one glass eye,
one glass eye,
really...
yeah, and the other eye is like super dilated.
Yeah,
so it's like. Right off the bat, you're like, this looks like a crackhead. You know, like right off the bat, you're like,
it was like rickety cricket.
yeah. If you were,
It's very easy to judge right
that's
away.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's very easy to judge right away. And my initial thought, as I'm watching this, I was contemplating with the lady, and as I'm watching this, I'm like, man, I don't know what I would do. I wouldn't let this guy in. But then he's basically saying, I saw you when you went to your car and your back was turned and somebody slipped inside the house. So now she's offered this, this question of what happened.
Yeah.
Like, is somebody in this house, or is this guy just telling me what he wants, to try and get in?
And because of his looks and the immediate judgment we make on him, it gives you an uneasy feeling to try to trust this guy.
Right.
Because he looks wild. But all he's doing is offering to search the house and take care of this guy that's there
to help out,
Right.
But you have to believe him in order to let him in.
Right.
Yes.
And he looks crazy, and
he
she doesn't know
looks
that. She doesn't know for sure if someone else is in the house.
And she's home alone, and she doesn't have any weapons.
Right.
So it's like she doesn't have anything to protect herself, and she's scared. What would I have done if I was going to be completely honest? I don't know if I would have let him in. However, when there's one moment where she says, I'm going to call the police, and he said, yeah, call the police,
Yeah.
And that's where I would have been like, okay, maybe I'll let this guy in.
Yeah.
If
he was like willingly
as the conversation
get the authorities.
goes on, you
Yeah.
start to feel more like, okay, he's saying the right thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
make me want to believe him.
Yeah, and there's a moment where she almost lets him in, and then she decides to back away. And I think that if I was her and I was at that moment where I was like, okay, well, I'm going to let him in, I think I probably would have let him in.
I probably would have let him.
Well, what about when he brings up like, okay, I'll just run into town and call the police?
Yeah.
Because then you're still getting the police because it comes up like she doesn't actually
All right,
have
well,
a
that's
phone
where
on
she
her
ends
at
up
the
getting
point.
screwed anyways.
It's a tough scenario.
But then you're still left it on your own
You're
at
left
least
there on
for
your
a
own.
while.
Yeah.
All right. Constant listeners. This movie, this entire sequence that we're talking about right now, this entire movie is like that. Where it's just a bunch of scenarios where it's just like
A lot of tough
rock in a
decisions.
hard place. What would I do? And this is one of those where I feel like I would have maybe let him in, but at the same time, being a girl, I can't say that I relate to that necessarily. Alone in a strange place in a house that you aren't necessarily comfortable in just yet.
Or familiar with.
Yet, and your husband's at work, and there's like no way that you don't have a phone. There's no way you can get anybody else. I maybe wouldn't. If I was a girl, I probably wouldn't have let him in. If I was me, I probably would have let him in.
Right.
So that's my answer.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I can't. Yeah, like you were saying, I can't speak for if I was a woman because it might be a different dynamic that
Yeah.
But in my position now, I probably would have let him in. Definitely.
I probably wouldn't.
You probably wouldn't let him in?
No,
Trev, you're gonna get killed.
Yeah, well,
We don't know
I
that.
mean, yeah, we don't know that. But I would
Trev's
rather take because before you let them in, you're not certain that there's someone in there. Once you let them in, you're certain that there's a stranger in your house.
I probably would have. She didn't do a whole lot of negotiating back with him. It was a lot of him being like, "Let me in, and I'll look around. There's somebody in there. I'm telling you, there's somebody in there." And she's like, "What? What do I do? What do I do?" And there's not a whole lot of her negotiating back. I probably would have said,
Like, you just stay right here outside the door.
Yeah,
if the guy shows up, I'll open it. And you can take him out.
Stay here, and yeah. I mean, I'm sure that if she was like, okay, like let's just say like a person, if you're careful and you're looking, I'm sure you can kind of like look around corners and stuff and run back to the door and unlock it real quick, and then you have two people against one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
And she had a hammer, and she stupidly put the hammer down.
Yeah.
But moral of the story is, I probably wouldn't have let that guy leave. To go back to town.
That's fair.
Because he was walking.
Yeah.
It's not like he was driving.
That's
that we
true.
know
By
of.
the time anyone actually does show up, it's so long that
Yeah.
it'd probably be better just to have them just stay right outside the door.
Yeah.
So you don't have to let them in. But if something goes down, you can.
Just stay there.
Right.
Just be here with. At least there's somebody. Even if they're crazy, at least there's somebody with you.
But that's tough because we watched that movie and it's taken until now to really like form that idea
Yeah.
of just keep him outside the door. So in that moment,
Yeah,
to try to
that's
come
what I'm
up with
saying.
that
So
idea
it's overwhelmed.
and
And
that
that,
solution, probably wouldn't.
that entire situation is almost exactly like The Strangers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true. And then my last one I got for you, a little bit different topic, but still on brand, is would you have rather had Ultron or White Vision be the main antagonist of this new Vision series coming out? Or would you rather, I guess?
Well, maybe it's both. We don't know.
Maybe it is both.
We don't know.
Maybe it's Ultron in white vision.
In
You're
white
right.
vision,
You're
you
right.
know.
You're right. It could be both.
It could be both. So I'd say like that's a good one to save. But for baseline,
Save 2 years.
Yeah.
For they want background
for
in 2 years.
baseline
Stay tuned.
of what I want, I would love to see Ultron again as Ultron.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think as Ultron. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
So
Those are all the ones I got for Would You Rathers.
Those are some good ones.
those are some good ones. I like that they're on brand too.
Yeah.
Actually gets me to think about things.
What's going on?
You normally just not think.
Yeah, those just turn the brain off.
Yeah.
That being said, we are, if you're local to the LA area, we are planning on dressing up as our Batman villains and going out to Santa Monica and Venice Beach tomorrow to hand out our Joker business cards and our Batman credit card business cards that link directly to our Batman fan film. Trevor's going to be the Joker. I'm going to be the Scarecrow. Tim's going to be the Riddler, and we have Connor being the Penguin. We're trying to get Sam to be Catwoman or Harley Quinn, but
I don't
it's
know if
not
she's gonna do it though.
Not looking bright.
But also these cards, if you happen to get one, hang on to it because it's not gonna stay just to the Batman link. We're gonna use it as like a VIP access card, like and
Yes.
keep changing up the content it goes to.
Yes. So yeah, it and
One card fits all.
One card.
One card.
One card hits all. No, one card fits all, and yeah, they're kind of, we're trying to start rolling out some like real kind of like collector's pieces, you know, and these are a really cheap introduction to it, but at the same time, I think the card designs themselves are kind they're kind of fun, and
I'd take them.
yeah, something to hold on to, if for nothing more, just a good collector's piece for your.
It's fun to have for a Batman fan.
Yeah, for a Batman fan. So.
All right. Well, thanks for being here with us, guys.
Yeah,
Hope you liked it.
Thank you, and subscribe, and we're gonna keep putting these on every week. So
So tune in next week.
next week. All right, bye.